Hello, Steve the Coffee Geek here. Welcome to my tutorial on how to get the best from your home coffee machine. Now, as a fully trained barista and self-confessed coffee geek, I always look for ways to make coffee the best I possibly can. Having said that, unfortunately, without spending thousands, there is no way you can get coffee as good on a home machine as you can on a commercial machine. You just can't. But with my help, I can get you pretty close. Now, I will be using coffee jargon, but I'll do my best to explain as we go. Today I'm going to make a classic cafe latte. All you need for this is fresh beans, a cloth, milk, filtered water, a grinder and a cup. First thing we'll do is we'll turn the machine on and I'll give you a quick breakdown on the machine itself. Now, I'm using just an off-the-shelf DeLonghi single group head espresso machine. If you haven't got a machine and are looking to buy one, my advice is to read reviews and nothing else. Don't get bogged down with pump pressure and other junk. Realistically, you only need about 8 to 9 bars of pressure to extract a shot of espresso. So machines saying that they're 12 bar or more doesn't mean much. Now, the £3,500 San Remo machine I use professionally only extracted just over 8 bars. So base your decision on recommendations. Ideally, you need to leave the machine on for around half an hour. You want these two bits here, the portafilter and the group head, to get roasting hot. For a sec. You want to be able to have the portafilter so hot at the end of it that you can't hold it. It needs to be that warm. This is crucial to allow the espresso to get good crema, which you will see very shortly. Now, change the water in your reservoir. Now, depending on what machine you have, you'll probably have something like that. Now, get rid of that. Always use fresh filtered water. Don't use demineralized water or any other thing like that. Fresh filtered water. Do that every time you have a coffee and you will definitely taste the difference. Now, pop your cup. Any cup is fine, use whatever you like, it doesn't really matter. I'm just going to use a more like a mug style cappuccino cup. Pop that on the top of your heat pad. If you don't have a heat pad, don't worry too much about it. Just stick some hot water in there just before you're ready, because you want the cup nice and warm as well. Now, whilst the machine's heating up, I'm just going to talk about beans. Now, it's up to you what you get really, but I would suggest buying beans and grinding them yourself rather than pre-ground beans. The beans I use are a single estate Sumatran bean and cost around £20 for a kilo bag this size. Now, of course, you don't have to spend that much on coffee, but coffee's like Scotch whiskey. Generally speaking, the more you spend on the coffee, the better it's going to taste. Grinding yourself also allows your beans to stay as fresh as possible. Once the beans are ground, they start to lose their flavour right away. So only grind what you need per drink. There are two main types of grinder, burr grinders and flat blade grinders. Now, I use a burr grinder normally because it gives a finer grind and gives a nicer espresso. However, for this example, I'm going to use a flat blade grinder. Even though this isn't that good, it's still going to give you an idea of how good espresso can be from a home machine, even with the grind not quite right. So, in here you can see just the vessel, flat blade in there. Now, it's roughly sort of 2 or 3 tablespoons-ish. Now, I'm using this little measuring spoon thing, and that was about 3 in there. I'll do 4 just in case. Always make sure your beans are sealed airtight, because you don't want them to lose any of their oil or flake. Pop the blade on, and here we go. Right, so altogether that was probably about 30 seconds worth of grinding. But for your ears, I've cut that down a bit. Now, it's going to be kind of hard to see, but this grind is quite coarse. You can feel it through your fingers when you have a look through, and if it feels sort of like sand, it's a bit too coarse, which this is. You want it to sort of be like almost like caster sugar, really quite fine. But again, for this demonstration, you'll see still how good espresso can be even with a coarse grind. So I'm just going to let the machine heat up for another few minutes, and then we'll crack on with the coffee. So we're still waiting for the machine to heat up, so I thought I'll take this opportunity to just go through a few bits of the machine, just so you're clear about what the pieces are. So we'll just start obviously with the buttons. This is a very simple machine, on off, espresso on off, steam wand on off. So as long as the machine's on, you can select which you want to heat up first. So at this point we're going to heat the steam wand, and then after that we're going to turn that off and then hit the espresso. So there you just your simple operational buttons. This side we have the steam wand adjuster. That will send the power to the steam wand, which is just there. Now, as you can see, the steam wand has the frother on it, which I'll talk a bit more about in a minute. The reservoir of water you can see around the back. On the top is the heat plate with the cup warming up as we speak. Not all machines have this, but that's one there. Drip tray down the bottom to catch any excess liquid. You have a tamper built into the machine on this one. This is what presses the coffee into the portafilter, which I said before is this thing here. You can get them individually, and I'll show you a bit more about them in just a sec. So as we release the portafilter, this is the portafilter itself, and the espresso falls out there. Now, that wasn't supposed to happen, but the basket just fell out. The basket lives inside the portafilter. The basket is what holds the coffee grinds. That, like I said before, is the group head, which is just here. Now I can already feel it starting to get nice and warm. And then underneath the group head, if I can get the camera under there, is called the shower screen, which is this bit just under here. And again, I'll talk about that a bit more in a minute. So that's the basics of the machine and all its features. Now you can see that the lights have come on and say that it's ready, and it says it's ready after about 20 to 30 seconds, which is fine. Yes, there's enough hot water in there, but you don't want it just hot water. You want the whole machine to be hot. So like I said, when I felt just down here, see, I can leave my fingers on it. It's not quite hot enough yet. As soon as you can't leave your fingers on it, that it's that hot, then we're ready to make espresso. Okay, now the machine is nice and hot. I always steam my milk first. It takes longer on a home machine to steam milk than it does on a commercial machine, so I always do the milk first, because you don't want your espresso sitting in the cup too long, otherwise it will lose its heat and flavour. So, the recommendation for milk is to use full fat. The extra proteins in the milk help deliver a smoother texture and fuller flavour. You can use semi-skimmed if you want, but try to avoid full skim milk. Soy milk is also fine, as it sort of acts and works very much like full fat milk, just obviously completely different taste. Now what you want to do is fill the milk to just over halfway into your jug. Now that's a single cup jug. You can see it's just over halfway full of milk there. Now what you want to do is purge your steam wand. Purging the steam wand removes any nasty gunk that's built up in there from, say, your last time. So just got a cup here that I'm going to purge into. Now your steam wand adjuster up here, and I'll just tilt that back a bit so you can see. Spin fully down. Now you might get a bit of water come out first, and then steam. So once the steam's out, you're good to go, all purged. It only takes a second. You just want to get any junk out that was in there already. Now I found that removing the frother allows the milk to texture better. If you want to use something like a cappuccino, fine, or if you want frothy milk, again, fine. But this bit here, off. Right, now what you want to create with latte milk is microfoam, not bubbles. Microfoam is denser, creamier, and much nicer, and how a traditional latte should be. Now to achieve this, you need to take the steam wand just under the surface of the milk. So I'll show you that now. So you can see it's just under the surface, And what you're listening for, can you hear that noise? Sounds like ripping cotton. It's a very fine hissing sort of sound. Now what it's doing is lightly aerating the milk and creating a microfoam. The bubbles that you see there will disappear shortly, but this is the right procedure. Now what you want to do is you want to feel the side of the jug until it starts to get fairly warm. Not so warm that you're burning yourself, but nice and warm. And as you can see now, as it's starting to get a bit warmer, you let the tip of the steam wand submerge into the milk a bit more and continue to let the milk spin. So you want to get the spin on the milk, so you can't quite see it there, but it is spinning, and that's helping to create and bind the microfoam to the milk. Now the milk's getting pretty too hot to hold. I'll now stop it. Now you can let the milk sit, because that will continue to get hot for the next few minutes and it'll give us a chance to make our espresso. What you need to do though is clean down your steam wand to remove any buildup of milk and purge one more time. Get rid of any junk up there. So that's steaming the milk, and now it's coffee time. So remove the portafilter, empty any remaining coffee grinds. So you can see in there's a few in there. So again, take your cloth, remove any excess coffee grinds that are in there, because again you don't want any horrible old used coffee grinds. So nice and clean. Now you're going to want to fill your basket with the grinds that you did earlier. Now as you can see there, I'm overfilling the basket. Now with the crate machine you get a dosing, so you can actually see how much you get, but by overfilling makes it just a little bit easier. Now from there I level out the coffee just using my finger. You can't see that, but I'm just using my finger to level off the coffee back into the jug so it's nice and flat and smooth. And now you tamp down. There is two different ways of tamping. You can either use the tamper, which you can see on the machine just there, or you can use an individual tamper like this and push down onto the coffee to press the grounds into the basket. I'm just going to use the one on the machine just so you can see. Now as it goes flat into there, I'm now compacting the coffee grounds down. Now I knock the side of the portafilter to get any loose coffee off and tamp again. Nice bit of pressure. Now you're looking at about 30 pounds or 13 kilograms worth of pressure. Now to be able to measure that, the best way that I've seen is getting a set of bathroom scales, putting your portafilter on it, pushing down with the tamper and finding how much pressure there is on there. Now all I really concerned about is that if there's enough pressure on here that when I turn the basket upside down that the coffee won't fall out. So that's just loose dry coffee, but it won't fall out. There's enough pressure. Now just before you put your portafilter in, this is the time to purge the shower screen, which I showed you earlier. So just simply on and off. You can hear the pump working to push the water through. Now all you can do just for a second is a little bit of water come out of the machine itself. There we go. Just enough to knock off any old coffee grinds, and again if you really want to you can give it a bit of a wipe just so there's no coffee grinds left, and as you can see on the cloth there was. So that again stops any old coffee grinds going in. Now with your basket, once you've tamped down, just simply wipe along the top just to remove any coffee grinds on there, because you want to make sure that's a nice tight seal. Pop the coffee in there. Now as soon as you possibly can, you need to extract. So I want to put my cup on one side, I'm going to put a shot glass on the other just so you can see what it looks like as it comes out. So now I'm going to extract this shot. Now ideally this you want to come out for about 20 to 25 seconds when you push the button, but what you're really watching for is the blonding, when the espresso starts to change colour from a dark chocolate brown to a caramel blonde colour. When it starts to change colour, the shot's done. So let's have a watch of that. So now the shot will be coming out, and here it comes. This is a nice dark brown colour, nice golden colour to it. It's starting to change colour now, but you can see the crema. So now it's just starting to change, just starting to get blonde, and this is where we're going to stop it right about now. So there you go. So that will give you a nice about 25 mils worth, or a shot glass's worth of espresso. And if you look closely, you can actually see that it's got a really nice golden thick crema on top. So the crema is the top part here. This is the oils that are settled on top and gives all the flavour of the coffee. So that is exactly what you're looking for, and that, you know, you've pulled a perfect shot of espresso. So now I'm just going to take the cup out of here. And there's the other shot of espresso. Excuse all the mess, but you know, it can be a messy business. This. I'm just going to pour the remaining coffee in there so I can have my double shot. Now, with the milk, there are loads of different latte art techniques and bits and pieces to make a coffee. Purely for this demonstration, I'm just going to pour the milk in. So what we need to do is bang down. This gets rid of any loose air bubbles, and we're going to spin the milk again. This binds the microfoam and the milk together. Give it another bang. Now you can, some people knock the first portion of the milk off because there's a bit of froth, so you can if you want to. Just get rid of that, and then it allows the milk to pour. So this time I'm just literally going to pour the milk in. Maybe another spin just to keep everything together. And there we go. Nice creamy milk floating on top of the golden crema. Now obviously that's not a beautiful looking shot of coffee, just a very, very tasty one. Stay tuned for further tutorials, and you will see different latte art, different methods of making cappuccinos, iced coffees and so forth. So I hope this has been informative for you, and I really hope you've got the best out of your coffee and have really tasty, lovely espresso based drinks. If you want to subscribe to my channel, please feel free. If you want to comment, again feel free. If you want to contact me for any more information, again, the choice is yours. So until next time, arrivederci, caffè gli amanti.